Oh, it's Wednesday morning, an early morning. It's about 8:15, and I'm on Ronan, my first ride of the day. I don't get out early at this time of the year. I definitely run out of light. So it's about 2 weeks since I made those first clips of him, and in that time he has improved a lot, mainly with his confidence, because like many horses who are non-reactive, his seeming lack of motivation is in part lack of confidence, and so that manifests as a reluctance to go forward, an apparent sort of laziness and deadness to the leg. And yes, he was very dead to the leg. He's starting to improve. He's not quite as dead to the leg as before. As he begins to get, as I show him, strong kind of leadership skills from on top, and really constantly encourage him forward, he's beginning to get a little more belief in the fact that he can. And actually, Ronan is surprisingly athletic, and there's a lot more to Ronan than he realises. So I'll be bringing that out of him in the weeks and months ahead. It's not that he's going to be, set the world alight in competitive terms, but he's a lot more able than he realises. Well, he's seen a black sheep. Come on, Ronan. I'm now able to use the stick behind my leg as well as on the shoulder, so there's less shoulder tapping needed and more behind the leg as he gets to realise, as he gets to understand the purpose of the stick, whereas before he really didn't seem to understand it, and he kind of switched off from its use, a bit like his mouth, which I'm going to sort of talk about today because it is pretty solid, a bit like his sides and his body. Also, a couple of days ago got hind shoes on him because he's not normally shod behind apparently, and I found that he was getting quite sore, and sort of every time he'd tread on a stone he'd sort of hop. Well, if you're feeling sore, it's no encouragement to go forward. So now he's got hind shoes on, he's feeling a lot better, and he's stopped doing this silly little jog. When you ask him to go forward, instead of walking out, he sort of does this really silly little jog. Come on, good boy. Yeah, you see, he's actually going forward past it, even if it is a silly little jog. So the walking out is happening. Come on. Oh, there's a good boy. Let's just get past this sign, which yesterday he saw that sign. It's just a little sign to the left there, and he thought, I'm not going past that. But of course, once he goes past something, he does remember, and is much more inclined to go past it the next time. So yeah, so he's walking out better. He doesn't get stuck as often, although it's still very early days because, I'm getting him to go as forward as I can and as forward as he can at this stage. But that doesn't mean to say somebody else could get on him and ride him forward yet. So I've got to get him to the stage where he'll ride forward for everyone, not just me. So he's going more forward, and as he goes more forward, I can start to think about getting some response with my hands to his mouth. And luckily, he doesn't really go anywhere, which is, as a neighbour, which is just as well, because if he did, you really haven't got any brakes yet, and the steering is pretty primitive. I wanted to come take the camera on bin day, because when the rubbish is on this lane in plastic bags, Ronan really doesn't like it. Come on, come on. Oh. Hello. Hi. Hi. Nice early morning walk. So, but I couldn't put it on because it was pouring with rain. I have to fiddle around with putting waterproof backs on the camera, and I did that for Mel's video, and the sound is really muffled. So what I'm going to do is, if I do that again, I'll have a supportive audio system that I take with me that will record my voice in better clarity, just in case you do want to hear what I have to say. Yeah, so does Ronan make me smile still? Yes, of course he does. And you do need a sense of humour when you ride this horse, and not take it too seriously. And the other thing I want to say is, come on. Nearly always when you start making them go forward like this, and putting changes in place. Morning! Gosh, there's a bit of activity today. When you start putting changes in place, you will find initially the horses get more spooky, not less spooky, and you could be forgiven for thinking, well, I'm not doing this right because he's spooking more than he ever did before I even started. But actually, that's completely normal, and they all go through that phase, and you have to come out the other side. Parked cars are still an issue for him. Morning. That's the right way to... We've got one of those. They're quite handy, aren't they? Right, we're going to trot on now. To a rot. Voice is really good for a horse like Ronan. He'll now trot more or less to the voice without having to use too much leg. So, yes, I've found it time and time again. You have a horse that isn't confident, away from home, finds the big outdoors quite threatening and is spooky, and then you start to work through that, all that process, and lo and behold, they become spookier than they were to begin with. I want to trot through this puddle. Come on, Ronan. Come on, Ronan. You can do it. Come on, Ronan. There. Good boy. I needed a bit of encouragement. Very good boy. There. Good boy.